In this video, we're going to explore how we can create a dynamic bar chart which has all of these interactive options. You can see here the colors, the values, and then the text or label is starting to adjust. And maybe it doesn't look appealing here, but if you are opening up in mobile, it becomes far more appealing because we will be focused on mobile first development. And as you can see here, all of this here looks very straightforward and very appealing. And this is really exciting because this part is basically a combination of using Chart.JS and then applying the legend, as you can see here, in a different way. We're hiding the legend of the original Chart.JS and we build our own legend, and this legend helps to make far more stronger interaction with your user or viewer. So I hope you're excited because with this you can do so many new things. Let's start and explore how to do this. So now it is time to work with it, and you can see here as a start we have our template here. This is just a basic browser template from Google Chrome, and we will put it in a responsive mode because we will start to work with mobile first design. Here we have our HTML template. Everything is very straightforward. We have 3 colors already fixed. You can copy these, and then we have a default of style in style CSS. And let's start to work. So what we're going to do first is we're going to make here a bar here above, which will be eventually a navigation or menu. So we say here div class, and in here we'll put in here, let's say, menu bar, and this will be the navigation. Alright, so we will not focus on that, but we will give it a color later on, so at least we have that one. And then what we want to do is the following. We want to put in here a new div, or more specifically a section, and this section will cover the div of the chart. So this will be a class chart box, and everything within this chart box or this section is related to the chart. Alright, and here will be eventually canvas, but we will do that later on. And then we have, after that, we have the next one, which can be done here below. That would be basically the div class, and we say here legend box, and that would mean here we put in everything related to the legend, because we're going to create our own version of the legend here, and then we'll make sure that this will be visible here eventually. Alright, so we have this here. Now we have this. What we can do first is to insert in the chart box the canvas ID. So what we're going to do is we go here, you can go to ChartJS.org and then just click here on the standard, or when you're here, this is the first page. Copy everything here, and we're going to copy this all from top to bottom. And then we put it here below. And then we're going to paste this in here. And once we paste this, I will do a proper indentation here for the JavaScript. This is a big chunk of code for JavaScript. And then the canvas, we're going to select that. And we're going to put that here up. Alright. I'm going to remove this here because we will be using our own width and height based on the chart box. So it's dependent on this. And then once we have that, we still need to put in here the script for the Chart.js library from Chart.js. So to get that, we just click here on Getting Started. Click here again on the submenu of Getting Started, and then you can find here the Chart.js source code. Let's copy this. Sorry, the link, of course, not the source code. So we have that. Now, if you would refresh, we would see here we have our chart working. Alright, so that looks fine. What I want to do now is start to work on the CSS to give it a better and proper presentation. But first, maybe we have to put in the items here for the legend. So what will happen here is basically in here, this is a div, then we can create here multiple divs or a paragraph as well. Well, we can basically make here a div, and this div class will contain the legend items. So we can say here legend items, and here we could do the paragraph, or more specifically, this will not be paragraph but the href. And this href contains the links. So this is legend item. And once we have that, we could even do a UL as well, but it's alright for now. So we have this here. We are going to copy this 3 times. And in here, we can say, for example, here we have the Windows or Windows users. Then we have the Apple users. And finally, we have the Android users. And then with this, we have the 3 different colors here that we can use as well. So what we're going to do now is start to work on the CSS to give this a proper design. And then after we start to make this clickable, so once that's clickable, you will see that this starts to move and adjust as we go. So let's start and do this. So the first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to create a navigation, or at least here this class of navigation. The menu bar should have a color. So we say here padding 20 pixels. And then we say here background color. Our background will be variable, and the variable will be one of those. So I'm just going to select one, the first one. Oh, so we don't have to select this, but we just select here the color. So dash dash color 1. There we are. So we have this. And then once we have this, we can say here as well, just to make sure, with 100%. Alright. Save that, refresh. Now we have one part here, and probably can say here color, make that white. And there you are. So this is the menu bar. We can say here, instead of menu bar, we'll say users or user poll. Basically, this was what people are voting for, or something like that. It doesn't matter so much. Alright, so we've got that here. The next part is here the chart box. So the chart box is a section. So we're going to say this section here has a width of 100%. Alright, and then the section chart box class chart box will have here, we can make this. Well, this is fine, basically here with 100%, that's fine. I guess we could do it here as well. So this is fine, but what we will do here is just to give it a padding. As you can see here, right now we're reaching everywhere, and we just want to have some space between here. So we say padding 10 pixels. Then if we refresh here, and as you can see, I'm not sure if it's clear. The chart box, are we having a padding? I did not notice any padding here, so let's double check. Section, chart box. We can just remove this one. We're now padding chart box. Refresh. Does not do it, so we say here margin. Let's see if that one works. Alright, for some reason it is not responding, so we can double check this. We'll be checking box sizing border box. Now responded. So we can check here what's going on. So if the width is 100%, we have a margin of 10 pixels. So what is the width here then? Let's double check. If we do this, it doesn't respond at all. Fair enough. While this doesn't respond, we can double check. What are we missing here? Class chart box. Oh, sorry. There you are. That explains it all. And I can see here we have some issues, and the reason why we have this issue is box sizing border box. Why is this not responding? You can see the border box is not responding, so we have a slight issue here. Or that's the margin. Just do padding 10 pixels. There we are. Alright, sorry about that. That's a tiny mistake. Alright, so we got this now. So we have the chart box here, everything works. And then what we want to do here, well, this one is fine. We can focus on the JavaScript later on. We will focus on the JavaScript later on. So what we can do now is the legend box, and in here we will start to work on it as well. So we say here dot legend box, and the legend box is the same story. We have here the items, so we can say here display because we'll make it a display. We can say a display block. Make these all items a block. And then what we want to do is here in the legend item. So legend item is a small letter I. So in here we can say the following. We can say here width 100%. And if you do that, and then we can say here background color. When I say variable, I'll just double check here, and then we just say here variable color 1. If I save this, let's see what happens. There you are. You can see it starts to work, but we need some padding and everything. So we say padding. We can make 20 pixels, so it's suitable for mobile. And then we have here as well the href will be text align center. There you are. So as you can see here, now we have a huge item here. Of course, we are going to remove this color because the color will be later dependent on the item here. So we're going to put in here a specific class as well for color 1, color 2, and color 3. So we say C1, C2, and C3. All right. And what we want to do here is as well, we have the item legend, and then we say the A. That's what I want to do. I want to say here text declaration none. And then we say here color, this can be white. We have that, and then of course what we want more is we want to give the color of the legend item C1, C2, and C3. Alright, so we say here, we just do it here above. We say dot C1. Here background, there is a variable color dash dash CLR 1. Here you are. And then what we do is we copy this to 2 more times. Once we did that, we can adjust this. This is number 3. There you are. 2. Oh. There you are, number 2. So I'm matching these. There you are. Refresh this or save this first and then refresh the browser. Now we have 3 different colors here: Apple users, Android users, and etc. And then if we remove that, alright. So what we're going to do here is we're going to now fine tune a bit more the items here. And we could even put in some text here above. We have to see on that one. So what we're going to do here, we have the user poll here where we get the results below here. So what we can do here probably, oh, where is it? In here, we could put in here a paragraph where we say user results. And then maybe we put in here, we can put in a break. And then we say here span. And here we will say user results. We put in here the class. That will be the result. I will just call it result. And later on we'll be using this. So if I save this and now I say here, let's say here Windows users. I mean, this could be users. That will be the class. Alright. So we have a text here, and then you can see here result users, window users. Alright. That's fine. Then what we can do here in the chart box paragraph, we just put that in the center. Paragraph. Oh, make sure you have a dot in front of it. Alright. Then we say here text align center. Save that. Refresh, there you are. And then in here we could even say the span chartbox.span. Then we say here font size, and then we can say here 1.2 rem. So we'll open up, make it slightly bigger. Alright. Once we have this, we could even do here the font color. Or we just say color. And the color would be variable dash dash CLR1. Alright, so we have this, refresh, there you are. So now what we want eventually is when we select whatever we select here, this should match up. So let's start work on the Chart.JS part because there the design is still honestly not that nice. So what we're going to do here is we're going to change this. Then we can say the following. We have users, and then we say here the following. We have desktop, notebook, and mobile or smartphone users. So basically there's 3 categories in here. I'm going to put in all of this. There we are. And there we are. And this color here will eventually match with whatever we have here above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this and put all of these in here for now. Make sure you paste all of these in here. There we are. So now if we save this, refresh, you can see here we only have 3 items here. So that looks decent. Well, it could look more better, but that's alright for now. We only have 3 items for this. So what we're going to do next is the following. What we will do is we're going to remove some of the scales here. I want to remove all these grids here. So it's not necessary for now. So we say here, and then we say here the following. We say not only the grid, but I want to have the entire axis. So I say the scales itself. We're going to remove the scales itself. So scales, and then we have the Y, display, and then false. What happened now? We're going to remove the scales. Make sure you put a comma here, save this, refresh, and you can see now the scales are gone here. But we want to have the description below here because this is essential. If we're going to remove that, it might be confusing. So what we're going to do here is we're going to keep this, but we want to remove the grids only. Alright, so we say here, well, I don't want to do it here, I want to do it one up, and the reason why is because now we're going to work with the x-axis. So we say here x-axis, and then here we will say the following. We say grid, colon, and curly brackets, or curly braces, sorry. Curly braces, and then within here we say display false. And then once we did that, make sure you put a comma here, meaning that there's a next item here, which is the Y. And we save this and then refresh. Now we have only the lower line or the x-axis line. Alright, so this is what we want. We want to remove this item here because this is basically not necessary in our case. So what we're going to do here is we're going to remove the legend. So in the scales, you can see here we have the options. It's this one. So after the scales here, we put in a comma. And in here, what we have to do is the following. Chart.JS 3 has adjusted that, so that's why you have to follow that along. They went from, normally it's from options to legend. It's now options, plugin, legend. So we say plugins, colon, curly braces, and then we say legend, colon, curly braces, and then we say display false. Alright, once we did that, save this, refresh. You can see now the Windows users has been matched up here, and this looks beautiful. Alright, so we're very close now to completion here, because what we have to do now is to match up all these buttons here, and I realize that there should be, when we click on it, that this should have at least a clear sign that this has been clicked on. So that would be a target or active, and it would be bold. So let's do that one first. So we go in here, and we're going to do specifically on the item here. So we're not going to do the href, but the entire div that covers it. And the reason why is that if someone, because there's still a span here, if we click on the span, it will at least trigger everything as well. So this is the full button will be triggered. Alright. So where we're going to do is we're going to have search for the legend item, where we have the paddings and the width, and then we say here legend item. We can say here hover. And then we say here font weight bold. And then what we can also say is this legend item active. So the moment we click on it, it's font weight bold plus text decoration underline. Alright, so when we save it, that means that if you hover over it, it becomes bold, and then when we click on it, it becomes bold and it has an underline. So let's see. And I realize, of course, this is the mobile version, so it doesn't make any sense. Active, or sorry, not active, it should be focus. Sorry, but it doesn't make sense at all. Because as you can see here, it will not work at all because we are on mobile version. So in this case, it doesn't matter so much. However, at least we have it bold here, that's fine. We have something extra. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start working on creating the function here. So let's create the function here, where we are on click on any of these items, and then it will trigger a certain response, which is adjusting color, depending on the type of user, adjust the data here, and adjust the window user, or basically the text here plus color. So let's do this one. So we say here function, and we say change chart. And once we change the chart, in here we have a few parameters. One is the color, other is the label, and the other is the data. So there's 3 different parameters that we're going to trigger. Alright, so now what we have is the following. So what we're going to do now is the following, is to how can we assign these new colors for adjustments? Well, simply here. So you can see here we have, how do we get it? It's from my chart, data sets, and remember this is an index, or this is an array, so this is index 0. This is what we're going to use here for data set. So the data sets and then index 0, and then we're going to adjust the colors here, which would be the border and background color. Can we remove the border color? Basically, we could set the border color on 0, because the border color has no real value here. So if you do that, you will see that there's hardly any adjustments here. You will not even notice anything, but it's just 1 pixel has been removed. Does it matter? Well, we can basically, if we remove this, let's see if we will get any issue. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing doing it. So we could say here, remove this. And if I'm not mistaken, Chart.JS should be automatically set border width on 0 for bar charts. If I refresh here, you can see here, still all same. Alright, so that's fine. In this case, we can remove all of the redundancy. So now what I want to do is the following. Let's look. Is here, we select here first my chart, dot, where we're going to get the item. Then we have data, and then we have data sets, and then we get, for example, the label. Data dot data sets. Remember, this was the first element, which is index 0 dot, and then for example here we want to adjust the label, so we can say label equal the label value or variable. This is the label variable, so the label equals label. It's very straightforward. So once you understand this, you probably might understand how we do the colors here. So in our case here, we have also the background color. So we go again, my chart, data sets, and then we have the background color. So we say here, data sets, background color equals the color. And finally, we have the data. So my chart, data sets, data, and then background color. So we say here, data, and then here, oh sorry, not background color, but data, and then data, of course, because the data variable. Alright, so once we have this, we can remove all of these here. Save this because we only have 3 items here. So once we did that here, of course nothing happens yet because we didn't trigger the function yet. So how will this function be triggered? Let me see, I just deleted one without paying proper attention. Apologies for that. So we say here, label. Alright. So then here we say my chart dot update, because this is the update command, updating the chart itself with these items. So now what we can do here is trigger it. So how will we trigger it? So the moment we click on the legend item, I don't want the href. And the reason why, if you do the anchor tag, you can see here, as I told you before, if you would click anywhere on the span area, it will not trigger it. So you need to make sure you trigger everything within this area. So here the function will be on click, and then here chart, or was it change chart? That's the function name. And then in here, we're going to put in the data that we need. And this was this exact data. Copy that. Put it in here. And then what we're going to do here now, this is a string. So this will be single quotation, because we already have double quotations here. So here will be the color. So where's the color? Well, basically we have the color here, but we need to get the exact color that we have specified above. So copy this, including the hashtag. We're going to insert it here. The next will be the label. And what is the label? Well, in this case, it's Windows users. And finally, we have the data. This is also a string, the Windows user, because it's just basic plain text. But the data is not a string. So the data is the codes or the information here. So put it in here, and there you are. So once we have this, then of course we can copy this as well, including the quotations here. So from on click to here, and paste it in here. So I'm going to put it in here, and one more time here below on the third one. So we have 3 different functions. So this will be the Android user, and this is the Apple or the Mac user. So I'm going to give this different number. Let's say here 10, 25, and this will be 33, and this will be 45, and this will be 30, and here this will be 5. Alright, so we have these numbers here. We have this, only the colors we're going to adjust here to adjust the colors. Copy this here, put number 2, paste, and number 3 gets color number 3, which makes sense. Alright, so we save this now, and then refresh, and now you can see if we click on it, alright, nothing happens there, but then we start to click, we have this. Let's double check here what is going on, because I notice a color issue here. Background color equals color, and the color is not adjusting, so we're going to double check what are we missing here. So we have here the background color, we have here also the background color. We save this, this would be the color. Did I type it correctly? Yes. Then we're going to check here, change chart. Why are the colors not responding as of now? Let's refresh. You click on that, and then you can see somehow it doesn't adjust. So we have some digging to do here just to make sure if we're correct, or maybe we're missing something. Or do we have all the same numbers? No, they should be all different. So let's double check what's going on here. Alright, so most likely it probably will be that. Let's see here, we have the background color equals color. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to adjust this. This needs to be removed, because we don't want an array, we only want a single value here. Alright, and that would mean here would be this color, and this color should now respond. Alright. So the reason why what is happening is creating an array, and then when you insert it here, it creates some errors. This is a very common item. If it's background color, it creates, because they have multiple functions built in the background color command, meaning that even if there's an array, it would loop through values as well, where you have a alternate coloring as well. All right, so we have now almost everything what we want. The only thing what we're missing still, you can see here, is the window users and the color of here. So we can do it very easy by adjusting it. So let's look what's the value here. You can see this is the users. All right, this is the class related to that. So that's what we can adjust. So what we're going to do here is the following. Now we say here document dot query selector. And this query selector will search for the following string dot users. Alright, so that's a specific class it's looking for, and then it says here, we can say here inner text equals label. And then we can also copy this again. And then what we do here, not label, but we need to do color. And here we assign the following. We say here source, not source, style dot, here this would be color for font color, equals color. So once we do that and save this and refresh, we can now see we get the Apple users, and then we have the Android users, and you can see all of this. And this is really, really wonderful, because now you have a very nicely designed screen with a chart built in here. And with this, you can start to be more interactive. Most likely what we could do even here is adding up an icon here, or a picture of, for example, a Windows logo, or a Apple icon here, or the Android robot logo putting here, making it more interactive. And the reason why is this: if you are on mobile phone looking for a chart, especially you have these tooltips here, you can see these tooltips has absolutely no real function anymore in Chart.JS if you're on mobile. And the reason why is you have to click on it. And who likes to click on it? When you are on a website, you want to read the information as fast as possible. With a mouse, you can just hover over, which is fine. But if you're on a phone, pressing on a bar or pressing on anything for the tooltip is not really useful, because you're basically blocking your view. That's what most people do not want. So what you could do here in this case would be, of course, to put in icons here. Right now we have the text here, but I like, as I'm going in the near future, I'm making videos, I'm even preparing for those, where we put in icons or pictures of products and everything, because you can do so much more. It's really, really fun with Chart.js. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions or struggle as well, put them in the comment section below, and I'll make sure and get back to you. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course, where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.